Michigan fans. Michigan women's hockey is live and on the air. We are live high atop of Yost Ice Arena, and welcome everyone to Yost Ice Arena, looking down on Red Berenson Rink, where it is your University of Michigan women's hockey team taking on Lake Superior State. The Lakers in town are returning the favor as Michigan went up to the Sioux and played for a pair of games. Michigan is 4-2-1 on the season, coming off a draw at the beginning of the season versus Michigan State. They fell to Adrian College. They beat Lake Superior State up at the Sioux. The first game on October 8th was a 1-0 win by Michigan. That goal later in the third. And then on October 9th, Michigan won 2-0 up at the Sioux. Then Michigan played University of Utah and won that one 2-1. Michigan won the first of a home and home. They won the game here at Yost versus Indiana Tech 3-2. That's the team that beat Michigan 3-0 to knock them out of the CCWHA playoffs this past season. So Michigan getting a little revenge with a 1-goal win, and then, boy, that really stoked the flames for the Indiana Tech team, and Michigan going down to the Sports One Parkview Ice House took the loss as Indiana Tech was on fire 5-0 in that game. So Michigan 4-2-1 on the season, a total of 12 goals on the season. For Michigan, 14 goals against. They have a -2 goal differential. They average 1.71 goals per game, and goals against, they average 2 goals against per game. So taking a look at that last game versus Indiana Tech. Indiana Tech got a goal in the first. That was Yonker scoring from Nesbitt and Johnson. Only one penalty in the first. That was Katie German going off for checking from behind. Then in the second, Juzak scored from Williams and Yonker. That was a shorthanded goal at 2:12. Then Yonker scored her second goal of the game at 7:19. That made it 3-0. In the second, Mariah Evans took a contact to the head penalty, and with 59 seconds left, that penalty was served by Ceballos. So that was a 5-minute penalty plus a game misconduct. So Mariah Evans had to leave the game. Also in that second, Juzak took a holding penalty at 1:27. Terpstra took a cross-checking penalty at 3:58. Terpstra took a roughing penalty at 9:58. Nesbitt went off for hooking at 13:51. And Rogers served a too many players on the ice penalty at 17:53. In the third, it was Pedam Shand with her first goal of the game, her fifth goal of the season. That was shorthanded. Yonker on the assist at 7:37 in the third. And then Pedam Shand had her sixth of the season from Moore and Terpstra, that at 18:34, that on the power play. And your final penalties, Juzak went off for checking from behind, that at 8:03 in the third, and at 10:58 it was Terpstra going off for hooking. Ponith played between the pipes. She saved 54 shots on goal out of 59. On the other side, it was Varner who saved 19 out of 19 in that game. Taking a look at your top 5 point scores for the Wolverines as we're counting down about approximately 8 minutes to puck drop. DeCreasy has the points lead, 4 goals for the Wolverines. Everyone else doesn't have more than a single goal, so DeCreasy providing the bulk of the offense. And then taking a look, Eliason has 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. She's in the number 2 spot. At the number 3 spot is Gargiulo, who has 1 goal and 1 assist for 2 points. Simmer also tied for number 2. Number 3. She has 1 goal and 1 assist for 2 points. And also with tied for number 5 is Evans, who has 2 assists for 2 points, and Katie German, who has 2 assists for 2 points. That's the top 5 scores, really top 6 because a couple ties in there for the Wolverines. Number of players also have a single goal. That would be Goldman, Kolwich, Lindahl, Rubin, and Swanson. Taking a look over at Ponith, she has a 2 goals against average. She has saved 239 shots on goal. Save percentage is an outstanding 945 save percentage. Ponith has been absolutely outstanding between the pipes. Taking a look at this Lake Superior State team, they had a pair of losses versus Indiana Tech, 4-1 and 5-3 to start off the season. They had those 2 losses to Michigan. Then they went down to Miami University, so first road trip down to Grogan Ice Center, and they fell 4-1 both nights on October 29th and October 30th. Goals for Lake Superior State has 6 goals for, so Michigan has 6 more goals on this season, though they've played 1 more game. Goals against 20 for Lake Superior State. That's 6 more than Michigan's given up. Average goals per game is 1 goal per game for Lake Superior State. Michigan is .71, better than that. And goals against per game, 3.33 for Lake Superior State. Michigan, 1.33 goals better than that. Taking a look at their last game over at Grogan Ice Arena versus Miami University. In the first, there was no scoring. Penalties as Simone went off for hooking and Hornstra went off for checking, that at 11:54. In the second, it was Schwerzer scoring from Simone, her 4th goal of the season, that at 5:20. Cogswell scored at 11:06 from Oliver, and Smith scored at 12:59. That's Stephanie Smith for the Redhawks from Oliver and Farrell. So it was 3-0 at the end of 2. Farrell went off for checking at 7:35. At 8:47, it was Lascanis going off for hooking. Jones went off at 14:25 for tripping, and Sarah Lamb for the Lakers went off at 16:26 for checking. In the third, it was Sarah Lamb getting the lone goal for the Lakers. Jaremko and Gibbs on the assist. That was a power play goal. Heining, and forgive me, I didn't practice the Redhawks goals, the Redhawks names. That was from Smith and LeBrer. That was on the power play at 17:26. That made it 4-1. Penalties in that period. Oliver went off for a cross check at 3:49. At 12:22 was Gary going off for tripping. Tricia Smith went off at 13:05 for a cross check, and Stephanie Smith went off for slashing. Taking a look at your top point scores, Jaremko has 3 points for the Lakers with 2 goals and 1 assist. Gibbs has 1 goal and 1 assist for 2 points. Pott has 2 assists for 2 points. Aykroyd has an assist, goal for a point. Gary has a goal for a point, and Sarah Lamb has a goal for a point. As we are getting ready to go, let me pull off our graphic here. and we'll turn it over to the public address announcer. Remco comes out for the Lakers. As coming out Sarah Lamb for the Lakers. Gary skates out for the Lakers to the blue line. Adams comes out for the Lakers to the blue line. And Heatherland comes out. And Miller in goal for the Lakers. Proctor skates out for the Wolverines. Gargiulo heads out for the Wolverines to the blue line. Eliason comes out for Michigan skating to the blue line. Izzy German running one of the starting defenders. And Kolwich comes out for Michigan as the other defender. And of course, on it between the pipes for the Wolverines. Now the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen. That was someone singing down in the scores box beneath us, and that's someone who has some operatic training, obviously. That was just downright impressive. That's no one wants to hear me attempt anything like that. My poor wife has had to hop in when we've had some issues with the national anthem occasionally, but that was something special. So we're getting ready to go here. Michigan trying to get back on the winning ways after a setback down in Fort Wayne, and Lake Superior State looking for that first win in Division I. Both of these squads here, Yost Ice Arena, beautiful, beautiful day out, as it's always fun to have a day game here at Yost Ice Arena as the light comes in from the beautiful windows around it. It's just a slightly different atmosphere than the night games where you don't get any light through the windows. Always a wonderful time here at this wonderful building. It was great to get up and see Taffy Abel Arena, but nice to be at home and host the Lakers. As the Wolverines come out Onto the ice as Gargiulo in to take the face-off. On the other side is Sarah Lamb as that puck comes in along the far boards, picking up his Eliasson. Eliasson fires it, that goes just to the far side and sticked over by Miller into the far corner, or into the near corner, trying to get to it is Proctor. That tipped away, loose on the near corner. And pulled back over to the near point. Izzy German trying to send it over on the near circle. Gargiulo with a shot and a save by Miller. Proctor takes it right back behind the goal on the far circle. Proctor to the high slot. That slips past back into the neutral zone. Izzy German moves it in along the far boards. Kolwich sends it ahead, and that skitters down into the Lakers zone. Banked off of the near boards, picked up by Gary. Gary has it top of the near circle of her own zone. Feeds it down the far boards, trying to grab that and peel that away was Lindahl. Lindahl chasing it, poked back. Gargiulo trying to get to it. Now Gargiulo fires it right from center ice. That moved into the far corner by Heather Lamb. Heather Lamb sends it right back behind her own goal. That outside the near circle. Gary feeds it ahead, trying to hold it in was Katie German. Coming ahead is Jaremko. Jaremko gains the Michigan zone. On the far circle, forehand marking her. That comes back to the blue line. Racing in, drop pass. That knocked right back into the neutral zone. Collected by Jaremko, but tipped away from her. Now she just banks it off the near boards and sends it back deep behind Connor. Into the far corner, Katie German with it. Katie German moves it back behind. That's sent down the near boards to Lindahl. Lindahl over her own blue line, over center ice. Lindahl, she goes down, loses an edge. That pops skittering right back to the center line. Coming in with it is Pot. Pot battling forehand in the near corner. Pot firing it out in front. There's Ackroyd with the shot. Saved by Ponith. Another save, and she's able to get her glove on top of it. Good opportunity as they move it back over to Ponith, and Ponith, it's just, we're so lucky to have such a fantastic netminder. We've had some wonderful ones with this team, but Ponith has absolutely come up huge on a number of occasions. Tonello wins the face-off, moves it back to the high slot. That knocked away, moved in along the near boards by Simmer. Bringing out is DeCreasy. DeCreasy with the goal lead for Michigan with 4 goals on the season so far. That back in along the near board, sent by McCarthy. Down the far boards, now that skitters back in along the M boards of the Lakers zone. Gathered up there as Tricia Smith pulls it into the near corner, trying to pull that away as Michigan back to the near point. McCarthy has it. McCarthy takes a shot out in front, tipped by DeCreasy. Good save by Miller outside the near circle as Devora trying to fire it out. That held in by McCarthy, and it drifts into the far corner. Tricia Smith sends it to the blue line, held in there by Levinson. Now that got back out into the neutral zone, in along the near boards. Devora feeds it to the Michigan blue line. That gathered in there, bringing it ahead is Swanson. Swanson, top of the near circle. Swanson with a shot. Miller with a save. That loose on the far circle. Collected there by Gary. Gary, as that tipped away by Malashevsky. The puck in the high slot. Here comes Swanson, top of the near circle. Swanson trying to backhand it in front. That knocked down by Gary. Into the neutral zone. Here comes Jaremko. Jaremko over center ice. Jaremko gains the Michigan zone in the high slot. Jaremko on the near circle, and a glove save by Ponith. 16:51 left to go here in this, the first period between your Wolverines and the Lakers. Live from Yost Ice Arena, looking down on Red Berenson Rink. Pot in to take the face-off versus Gargiulo on the near face-off circle. At high slot, shot by Heather Lamb into the far corner. Trying to pull it away. Pot has it now. Gargiulo banks it off the near boards, trying to get ahead to Eliasson. That picked up. Here comes Michigan over center ice. Racing ahead is Katie German. Katie German onto the near circle. Backhanded shot. Saved by Miller. Yes. A couple players got tangled up after that. Face-off will come over into the near face-off circle. That is going to be to Miller's left as Pot and Gargiulo again tangle in the circle. One by Michigan as Proctor trying to get it back to forehand. That out into the neutral zone. And coming back, there is going to be a tripping call against Michigan as forehand went for the puck and instead got a leg. So Michigan on the penalty kill at 16:27, forehand for tripping. That'll bring it back into the Michigan zone to the right of Poneth. Rubin in to take the faceoff versus Sarah Lamb. Over to Jaremko. Jaremko comes right at the blue line. Gets it back over from Tricia Smith. Jaremko. High slot moves it top of the far circle. Now making move over Hornstra. Hornstra with the shot. That deflects out front. Good save by Poneth and cleared away by Rubin. That comes on edge all the way back into the Lakers zone. Trying to pin it up against the end boards is Evans. Pulled back away by Jaremko. Jaremko has it, bringing it up the near side. Gaining the zone, Heather Lamb has that knocked away. Now McCarthy sends it along the near boards. Heather Lamb feeds it high slot over Jaremko. Jaremko with a shot that was blocked by Rubin. Jaremko picks it up at the far point, feeds it outside the far circle, centering attempt. That cleared all the way down the ice by Katie German. 1 minute 5 seconds left to go in the power play for the Lakers. 15:25 left to go here in the first. Scoreless game so far. And puck in along the near boards is Gibbs trying to bring it into the Michigan zone. Gets it over to Pott. Pott outside the near circle. Pott into the near corner. Tipped away by Izzy German, but that collected outside the near circle by Ackroyd. Over to Adams. Adams gets it back into the neutral zone, and the Lakers will have to reset. Heather Lamb has it along the far boards of the neutral zone. Feeds it ahead for Pott. That knocked down by Malashevsky, and that will end up being a offsides as tipping that puck right at the blue line caused that offsides. They'll come right back outside the Michigan zone in the far face-off circle. 30 seconds left to go in the Laker advantage. As comes back to center ice, Adams moves it over to Heather Lamb. Heather Lamb feeds it into the Michigan zone. That tipped right back and along the near boards into the Lakers zone. 17 seconds left to go in the Lakers power play. Adams has it back behind her own goal. Sends it over to Tonello, coming down the near boards. Over her own blue line, Tonello gains the Michigan zone. Outside the near circle, Tonello drops it back. Heather Lamb with a shot from the near point. That pulled away by Michigan as Katie German backhands it all the way back to the Laker blue line. And brought ahead, firing it. Katie German all the way back into the Lakers zone. Adams has it top of her far circle. Michigan back to full strength. That puck into the Michigan zone, fed ahead by Michigan. Trying to get to it, Eliason. That grab by Levinson. Levinson outside the far circle of her own zone. Intercepted right at center ice by Sarah Lamb. Now here comes Katie German over center ice. Katie German gains the Lakers zone. Shot. And covered up by Miller as Proctor was racing. Trying to get a rebound, and Miller would not oblige. 13:57 left to go here in the first. Scoreless game so far between these two squads. And Michigan trying to get a bounce-back win after a loss versus Indiana Tech. Lakers trying to get their first win on the season. Going into the box is Sarah Lamb. I believe that was a trip as well. That is going to be at 13:57. So Laker penalty. That puts Michigan on their first power play of the game. As Swanson to take the face off versus Jaremko. That puck and along the far boards. Rubin sends it top of the far circle. That shot by Lindahl. Save by Miller. That comes outside the near circle. Trying to hold it in. Katie German at the near point. The puck bouncing around the near boards as Gary gets it out. Gary racing down into the Michigan zone outside the near circle. Gary driven wide by Rubin. Gary backhands it out in front, and that covered up by Poneth. Well, we could see Gary. Roughing was the call. Well, Gary had, both Gary and Jaremko had some serious speed last time we saw the Lakers up at the Sioux, as well as when we got to see them in the Division II CCWHA playoffs last season. Pott versus Gargiulo in the near face-off circle. Michigan on the power play. With that face-off to the right of Poneth in the Michigan zone. Now the officials come over to talk to the scorer's bench as trying to get something corrected on the scoreboard. as they'll have a nice talk. Good crowd inside here at Yost Ice Arena right below us. Number of folks. The officials are happy. 1 minute 46 seconds left on the Michigan power play. Levinson has it underneath the near circle in her own zone. Levinson brings it up the ice, moves it over along the far boards for Gargiulo. Gargiulo has that tipped away by Sarah Lamb, pulled away by Aykroyd, comes back. Levinson has it at her own blue line. Levinson feeds it down the near boards of the neutral zone. Matthews moves it over. DeCreasy chases it back in her own zone along the far boards. DeCreasy gets it back, gains his own. DeCreasy outside the far circle, ricochets it off the M boards. That comes outside the near circle. Trying to send it back. Levinson into the near corner. Matthews takes it right back behind the Laker goal. Matthews underneath the far circle. And over to Gargiulo. Gargiulo underneath the far circle. Spins with it in the far corner. Gets it back to the far point to DeCreasy. DeCreasy back outside the far circle for Gargiulo. Backhanded out in front. Trying to get it to Matthews in the slot. That's just slipped away. Levinson pulled off of the puck as it sits. Top of the near circle. Now sent all the way down the ice. Ponitz stops it in along the M boards of the Michigan zone. Gathering it up. Here comes Michigan as that tipped by Lindahl. That will go all the way back deep as Michigan going for a line change. Pulled back behind. Adams tries to lever it off the M boards. That comes right into the crease and covered up by Miller. 12:21 left to go here in the first. Scoreless game so far. 27 seconds left in the Michigan advantage. Face-off comes to the far face-off circle. That to Miller's right. As that puck top of the far circle moved over. Katie German in the high slot. It's it top of the near circle over to Evans. Evans with a shot that went off of Heather Lamb's skate. Swanson back behind the goal. Swanson trying to fire it out in front. Trying to get to Lindahl, but that fired all the way down the ice, covered up by Ponith. Pressure coming as Ponith will just cover it up as Tonello was racing down, trying to provide pressure by the Lakers. 7 seconds left to go in the Michigan advantage. As the face-off all the way back. Into the Michigan zone. On the near face-off circle, that comes away, trying to tip it back. And will come into the Lakers zone. Here comes Lindahl. Lindahl! That got knocked away. Adams got it stuck in her skates, moves it outside the near circle. Lindahl into the near corner, battling with Sarah Lamb. Gonna pull that back over the puck into the slot, pulled away by Gary. Gary feeds it ahead to Jaremko. Jaremko has that poked away, but Gary gets it back into the Michigan zone. Over onto the far circle for Jaremko. That got knocked down by Rubin. Rubin into the far corner of her own zone. Sarah Lamb trying to pull it away. That ahead to Evans. Evans gets it into the neutral zone, trying to get it to Proctor. That knocks off of the near boards and fired ahead by Hornstrom. Here comes Swanson trying to battle Sarah Evans. Gets ahead to Proctor. Proctor outside the near circle, makes a nifty move. Backhanded shot. That's saved by Miller into the near corner. Brought ahead by Hornstra. Hornstra trying to get it back. Now Sarah Lamb has it into the near corner of her own zone. As the Lakers obviously back to full strength. They poke it over trying to get it to Hornstra. Now Proctor on the far circle. Gary pulls that away into the near corner. Gary and Proctor tangling there. As now Gargiulo sends it right back behind the goal. Coming the other direction, Trisha Smith knocks it off the far boards. Held in by Michigan at the far point, but here comes the Lakers into the neutral zone. Jaremko gains the Michigan zone. Jaremko on the near circle. Jaremko trying to feed it out in front. Great job by Kolwich to knock that away. The puck into the far corner. Pot tangling with Izzy German. Now coming away, Gargiulo with it. Gargiulo coming down the far boards. Gargiulo over her own blue line. Gargiulo gains the Lakers zone. Moves it onto the near circle for Swanson. Swanson with the shot. Saved by Miller. And pulled away and along the near boards by Book. The puck back to the near point. That slips back into the neutral zone. Izzy German has it at her own blue line. Izzy German feeds it into the neutral zone for Malashevsky. Malashevsky over on the far side. That fired back deep by Goldman. That comes into the near corner. Book trying to move it down the near boards. Held in by McCarthy at the near point. Now gathered top of the near circle for Aykroyd. Aykroyd feeds it into the neutral zone. That comes right back and along the near boards. Fed ahead. Trying to pull it back over. That puck, McCarthy has it. McCarthy feeds it Now moved over by Bookin along the far boards, bringing it ahead. Here comes Gibbs. Gibbs feeds it into the Michigan zone. That sent the other direction. Here comes Simmer. Simmer racing down the near board. Simmer fires a shot and scores. Simmer puts it in as Miller thought she had it, and it just slipped past the post as a beautiful sniper shot by Simmer, and Michigan goes up 1-0. Michigan goal at 9:16. Simmer with the goal. We'll see if there was an assist. I don't believe so on that one. Face off right at center as 9:16 left to go here in the first period. Michigan up 1-0. Puck back. McCarthy feeds it over on the far boards. Now trying to bring it down. That knocked in along the far boards. Right back into the neutral zone. Michigan gathers it to Creasy, moves it back over to forehand. Forehand banks it off the near boards. And brought back. Loose puck in along the far boards right in front of the Lakers bench. Went off of Matthews' skates. Now trying to pull it in. Here comes Michigan as spinning with it Evans. Evans moves it top of the far circle. Shot by Katie German. That deflects into the far corner. Trying to feed it out in front. Miller with another save. Hornstruck gets it in along the near boards. Trying to pull it out. Devora. And to get it out of Lakers zone, that comes all the way back to the Michigan blue line where forehand moves it over along the far boards. Here comes Christensen down the near boards. Christensen, top of the near circle with a shot. That got deflected by Hornstruck. Now Tricia Smith puts it back to the near far point. There's a shot by Katie German. Outside the near circle, Christensen has it. Christensen puts it. That intercepted, coming ahead with it. Fired by Tonello. Into the far corner. Katie German picks it up. Katie German back behind her own goal. Trying to avoid pressure by Sarah Lamb. Katie German over to Christensen. Christensen over on blue line, but that's stolen away. Here comes Jaremko. Jaremko has it on the near circle. Jaremko back behind the Michigan goal. Trying a wraparound attempt. That knocked away by Katie German. Shot by Adams. That goes right through the crease. Banked off of the near boards, and here comes Michigan. Christensen ahead to Eliason. That tipped off of Eliason's stick. Goes in along the end boards, gathered in there by Adams. Now along the near boards, racing ahead with it is Gary. Gary puts it into the neutral zone. Battle for it. Proctor trying to get it right at center ice. Now Jaremko knocks it off of the near boards and fires it deep into the Michigan zone. Picking it up is Izzy German back behind her own goal. 7:21 left to go here in the first period. Michigan up 1-0. Proctor with the shot. That got one right off of Heather Lamb skates trying to get to it as Goldman. Shot by Proctor. That is saved by Miller. The puck into the near corner. Pott trying to pull it all the way out. Held in by Izzy German at the near point. Now here comes Pott over on blue line. Over center ice. Pott moves it on the far side. Here on the far circle is Ackroyd out in front. And a great save by Poneth as Ackroyd with the shot from the far circle. And Pott was right there for a rebound. Michigan able to cover that up. Great job by Poneth. 6:54 left to go here in the first period. 1-0. Michigan with the lead. Malashevsky in to take the face off. Add into the near corner. Trying to pull it ahead is Swanson. That pinned outside the near circle. Now McCarthy gets it over to Levinson. Levinson rims it around the boards, trying to get it to Goldman. That slips into the neutral zone. Tricia Smith had it. Then sent right back to the Michigan blue line. Now bringing it ahead. Levinson. That pass intercepted. Here comes Hornstruck. Hornstruck. Top of the near circle of the Michigan zone. Shot and a save by Poneth. 6:26 left to go here in the first. Michigan up 1-0 at Yost Ice Arena. Taking a look at the CCWHA standings, it looked like typically the teams play each other team in their own pod twice. And it looked like the Lakers games earlier were not part of the CCWHA. Out in front, shot, and that comes outside the near circle. Here comes Michigan down the near board. Simmer trying to get to it. It will lead you to believe that these games should be absolutely part of the CCHA point system. Into the near corner, trying to pull it away. Tonello Pinned against the boards. Matthews trying to get to it. Now that pulled out by Oaks. Pulled away by DeCreasy. DeCreasy outside the far circle. DeCreasy coming down the far boards. Trying to get to Simmer. That deflects into the far corner. Simmer chasing it. Heather Lamb gets to it first. Heather Lamb in the far corner of her own zone. Oh, Matthews trying to get it on the far circle, but couldn't quite reach the puck. That deflects off the near boards all the way back into the Michigan zone. Kolwich picks it up back behind her own goal, trying to avoid Jaremko. Now here comes Evans down the far boards. Held in at the far point by Adams. Michigan moves it along the near boards. Here comes Lindahl over center ice. Lindahl gains the Lakers zone. Lindahl into the near corner. Goes back behind the Laker goal. Now on the far circle. Over. One-timer by Matthews. That got deflected wide. Pulling it back. There's a shot by Rubin. That comes outside the near circle. Pulling it down. Izzy German trying to get to it. Pulling it away is Sarah Lamb. Sarah Lamb rims it all the way around the boards, out to the far point. That moved back over. Now Evans with a shot. And loose on the far circles. That got deflected out in front. Lindahl with it outside the far circle. Lindahl spinning with it. Puts it in along the end boards. Michigan back to the far, well, trying to get back to the far point was Rubin. That knocked into the near corner. And is trying to grab it. Evans into the slot. Shot by Rubin. That went off of Miller's shoulder into the far corner. Rubin with it there. Moves it back to Kolwich at the far point. Kolwich with the shot. That goes wide into the near corner. Picking it up. Here comes the Lakers. They sweep it out to center ice. Izzy German knocks it away as Jaremko was looking for a big outlet pass. Great job by Izzy German. Now Lindahl on the near circle. Back behind the goal. Coming over. Poked away by Adams. Good defense there as it was sitting in the slot. No one could get to it. Levinson puts it right back into the near corner. Bringing it along the near boards is Heather Lamb. Now Eliason trying to dig and pull it off of the boards. Gargiulo in there as well. Gary trying to poke it away. Proctor had it, but that grabbed away by Sarah Lamb. Fired ahead, tipped by Jaremko. That goes in along the boards of the Michigan zone. Jaremko underneath the far circle. Trying to get it. Good job by Gargiulo to tip it away. Coming in, Aykroyd with it. That moved by McCarthy outside the far circle of the Michigan zone. Levinson back behind her own goal. 3:37 left to go here in the first. Michigan up 1-0. Here comes Eliason. Over center ice, Eliason gains the zone down the far boards. And puck brought right back behind. Trying to move it over was Pott. Picking it up, Gary, right at her own blue line, in along the near boards of the neutral zone. Trying to poke that away, that was Gibbs. Goldman gathers it in and fires it deep into the Lakers zone before Proctor goes for a line change. The puck outside the near circle. Lindahl trying to hold it in, that back into the neutral zone. Picked up by Katie German in her own zone. Katie German knocks it off of the far boards, trying to tip it ahead is Goldman. Collected by the Lakers as Hornstra has it top of the near circle of her own zone. That fired back to the Michigan blue line, slips all the way back behind the Michigan goal. Katie German ricochets it off the far boards. Now bringing it down the near boards. Here comes the Lakers in a foot race, backhanded into Michigan zone by Adams. Now Tonello trying to pull it away in the near corner. Tonello moves it back to the near point. There's a shot by Heather Lamb. And coming over, Malashevsky trying to knock it away. Tonello feeds it right back behind the Michigan goal into the far corner for Dvorak. Picking up Adams with a shot from the blue line. Another save by Proctor. 2:20 left to go here in the first. Stolen away by DeCreasy. DeCreasy over center ice. DeCreasy gains the zone in the high slot. Shot that just goes wide. Not an easy shot to stick away as that got tipped and kind of bounced weird back in there. So good job by Miller outside the far circle. That puck saucers in along the near boards of the neutral zone. Izzy German takes it back into her own zone. Moves it over to Kolwich along the far boards. Kolwich ahead to Matthews, who gains the Lakers zone. Matthews moves it right back behind the goal into the near corner. Simmer trying to pull that away. Simmer with the lone goal so far. Wolverines up 1-0. That puck into the Michigan zone, trying to grab it. Heather Lamb, her shot was knocked away. Another shot saved by Poneth. Now Kolwich trying to fire it ahead, but that'll be a hand pass. 1 minute 32 seconds left to go. Here in the first, Michigan up 1-0. Face-off is going to be to Poneth's left in the far face-off circle. Sarah Lamb versus Matthews. Puck into the far corner for Kolwich. Kolwich pinned against the boards by Sarah Lamb. Trying to pull that away. Jaremko and Christensen battling. That sent all the way down the ice. That will be icing, and that will come back into the Michigan zone. As we'll go over the Michigan scoreboard report at the second intermission, but the NCAA men's team is on the road over at Happy Valley, and it was not so happy for the Wolverines last night. That gathered Sarah Lamb outside the far circle, top of the far circle. Good job to poke it away by Simmer. Held in. Hornstra from the blue line shot. That goes into the far corner. Kolwich gathers it outside the far circle, gets it into the neutral zone. Tricia Smith trying to move it forward. Now Christensen right out in front of the Lakers bench. Jaremko pulls it over. 52 seconds left to go here in the first. Michigan up 1-0. Jaremko has it knocked away by Rubin. Lindahl trying to bring it over. Add in along the near boards. Here comes Lindahl into Lakers zone. Good job by Hornstra to knock it away. Rubin keeping it in at the near point. Battle for it along the near boards. That backhanded into the neutral zone by Gary. Now Matthews gets it back to Lindahl. Lindahl gains his own in the high slot. Top of the far circle. Lindahl trying to get it back to the far point. Jaremko trying to knock it against the boards. They finally get it back into the neutral zone, but a whistle. And we will see there is Evans down on the ice as she is laying on her belly. We hope she's all right as Evans gets up. Happy to see that. Gets a good round of applause from the crowd, and each of the Lakers down to a knee for the injured player. That's good sportsmanship, classy move by the Lakers. Always love to see that excellent sportsmanship. Everyone battling as much as they can to get the win, but also respect for all the wonderful players playing this game. Rubin versus Pott in the far face-off circle outside the Lakers zone. 20 seconds left to go in the first, as the Lakers would love to tie it up before halftime or before the first intermission. That brought back, the danger of broadcasting a lot of different sports. Rubin in along the near boards, into the near corner, trying to pull that away is Heather Lamb. Heather Lamb feeds it ahead. That gathered by Ackroyd, and that will do it for the first period as Michigan takes the 1-0 lead into the first intermission, as it was a Michigan penalty at 16:27. Forehand went off for tripping. Michigan able to kill that off. Then it was a Laker penalty at 13:51. That was roughing to Sarah Lamb. Again, that penalty came to nothing. Then Michigan had a goal at 9:16 as Simmer came down the near boards, rifle shot it in, and it just slipped just past the near post and that block and the pads. And Michigan up 1-0. Well, let's play a little bit of the victors, and then we'll have a ACHA scoreboard report. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on the air with the Michigan team, so we have lots to cover. You are watching Michigan Women's Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting. Michigan 1-0 at the first intermission. is. It is the first intermission here at Yost Ice Arena. First game of two at Yost between the Lakers, as Michigan will play the Lakers again tomorrow. But let's go all the way back to Sunday, October 23rd. Michigan played on the 22nd. As games happened, it was a final in overtime, 3-3, between Miami University and Marysville back on the 23rd. Arizona State University beat University of Rhode Island 4-3. It was 5-3, Jonestown beating University of Minnesota, and Minot State shut out McHenry University 3-0. Taking a look at midweek games that week. No midweek games on Friday, October 28th. It was Utah putting it on Wyoming 13-0. Michigan State really poured it on Davenport 11-0. It was University of Michigan Dearborn with a one-goal win over Aquinas 4-3. Adrian beat Miami University 4-1, that down in Oxford. It was a 5-1 win, McHenry over Grand Valley State University. And that was it for that Friday. Saturday, October 29th, Miami University beat Lake Superior State 4-0, that over in Oxford. It was a 3-1 win, Marysville over Grand Valley State University. University of Utah again in the double digits, 10-0 over Wyoming. University of Michigan Dearborn shut out Aquinas 7-0, that over in Dearborn. And Midland beat University of Jamestown 5-1. Action on October 30th, it was Miami University again beating Lake Superior State 4-1. Grand Valley State University 5 and Marysville University 3. It was Midland beating Jamestown 6-2. And that was all the action on the 30th. Looking at midweek games, nothing until Thursday. A couple games on Thursday, November 3rd, as Adrian put it on Davenport 17-0 as shutout, and Midland beat Marysville 4-2, that over in Fremont. Action yesterday, Arizona State beat Grand Canyon University by a goal 4-3. It was Liberty putting it on Miami 12-1 as Liberty continues to roll 4 wins, no losses so far. They are a powerhouse every year. Aquinas beat Penn State 5-1, and no score reported from the Colorado State University, University of Denver, UMass at Marysville, and Jamestown at Colorado. Jamestown doubled up Colorado 4-2, and Indiana Tech put it on Concordia 11-2, that down in Fort Wayne. Don't believe any scores will be reported as of yet today, but let's take a look. One score reported. Oh my. So every once in a while, you know why there isn't mercy rules in college, but 20-0. Adrian beat Davenport, that over at Arrington Ice Arena. That's not a lot of fun to be on the losing side of a game like that. And in the second, University of Michigan Dearborn has the 1-0 lead over the Spartans. Also in progress, scoreless game so far, 17:40 left to go in the first between UMass and Midland. Also scoreless in the first at 7:55 as Minot hosting Minnesota. Games happening later at 4:30 Eastern Time. That's this game. you know what's happening here, 1-0 at 7:30 Mountain Time. So 9:30 p.m. tonight, Jamestown visits Colorado State at 7 p.m. Pacific, so 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's Grand Canyon at University of Arizona State University. Also happening at game started at 1:30 is Miami at Liberty. And at 9:15 tonight, it's Aquinas visiting Pagula Ice Arena over at Penn State. That must be after the Michigan game because I believe the NCAA men's team is playing at Pagula Ice Arena, and that must be an earlier game than I thought. It might be happening now. Let's go and take a look. One other game happening 8:30 Eastern Time as Indiana Tech visits Concordia Ann Arbor. That over at the Arctic Coliseum in Chelsea. That is not the right app. I'll pull up my college hockey news app and take a look. As interesting, 7:30 Michigan at Penn State. So they must be playing at the two rinks. There was the big rink, and then there was the community rink. They must be playing at the community rink between Aquinas and Penn State, unless they think that they can really pull that off an hour and 45 minutes after the NCAA men's contest kicks off. So that is your intermission scoreboard report. Let's take a look at the next upcoming games for your Wolverine team as we are traveling through our first intermission. Michigan up 1-0 at the first intermission. The next 5 games for the Wolverines. Tomorrow we'll have the second matchup at Yost Ice Arena between these two teams, 4th overall. That will be at 3:30 at Yost Ice Arena on November 6th. So come on out. We'd love to see you here. Check that out and maybe use that as hopefully a balm for the pain that is watching the Lions for all you Detroit Lions fans. Then on November 18th, I'm still trying to work out whether I can make this road trip or not. I'm doing my best to try and do it, but Michigan goes on the road for a trio of games over in Salt Lake City, as on Friday they take on Montana State at 7 o'clock. Then on November 19th at 6:30, they take on Utah. These are all Eastern time. Then on Saturday, November 20th, they take on UMass. That's a 2:30 Eastern game. That way Michigan can try and get away and get back in time for classes on Monday. Those games are being hosted at the Salt Lake City Sports Complex. Michigan stays on the road December 2nd as they will go over to the University of Michigan Dearborn Fieldhouse for a game versus Michigan Dearborn. That's Friday, December 2nd. That is a 7 p.m. contest. So these two games, the last home games for a little bit. Michigan back at Yost Ice Arena to host University of Michigan Dearborn on December 3rd. So come on out, watch your Wolverines. We'll play a bit of the Michigan Marching Band and come back with your second period action. Michigan up 1-0 at the first intermission. as we're about to get back going here for the second period is underway. If you want to reach out to the broadcast, you can email us at arborbroadcasting@gmail.com, arborbroadcasting@gmail.com. We do our best to check it during the intermissions in the Lake State zone. That grab, Pot moves it over and along the far boards, intercepted. Michigan trying to get to it. That pulled away by Pot over center ice. Pot comes down the far boards, gains the Michigan zone. Michigan up 1-0. 25 seconds gone in the second as Gibbs has it in the near corner. That brought back to the near point. Adams with a shot that goes wide to the far side. Heather Lamb holds it in at the far point. Michigan back into the neutral zone. Here comes Eliason. Michigan going from right to left on your internet dial. And pulled back by Pot, right back behind her own goal. Pot underneath the far circle. Trying to hold it in is Lindahl. Lindahl comes high slot. Lindahl, that got stuck on Heather Lamb's skate. Now bringing it is Pot. Michigan trying to hold it in. Now Lindahl in along the near boards of the neutral zone, pulled in by Rubin. Rubin on the near circle with a shot that just goes high. Deflected off of the pads by Miller as Evans has it high slot over to Lindahl as Adams got her stick in the way. Now back into the far corner. Rubin has it. Rubin pinned against the boards. Pulling it away is Lindahl outside the far circle. Lindahl moves it top of the far circle forehand. Back to Lindahl. And pulled away. Lakers have it as Gibbs in along the near boards. Gibbs loses an edge. That pulled back by Ackroyd. Ackroyd feeds it, knocks it off the near boards right in front of the Michigan bench. Forehand trying to pull that away. Now Matthews has it, but a whistle and an upcoming penalty. 18:21 left to go here in the second period. As the official roughing the call, and that's going to be forehand into the box. So Michigan shorthanded for the second time of the game. Is forehand talking it over. Now she'll go into the box. So that at 18:21, face-off is DePondent's left in the near face-off circle. Sarah Lamb trying to get to it, held in by Tricia Smith. That goes in along the far boards. Jeremko has it at the far point. Jeremko moves it along the blue line. That backhanded by Matthews out in along the far boards. Tricia Smith has it back in her own zone, trying to feed it ahead, trying to get to Hornstra. Now here comes Sarah Lamb right at center ice. Sarah Lamb gains the zone. Sarah Lamb outside the far circle. Sarah Lamb goes back behind Ponith. That tipped away by Levinson, grabbed by McCarthy. Tricia Smith has it top of the far circle over to Gary. And puck wouldn't settle down. Backhanded shot. Good leg save there by Ponith, and that sent all the way on edge down into the Lakers zone. 1 minute, 15 seconds left to go here in the Michigan penalty kill. The Lakers bring it up the near boards as Hornstra ricochets it ahead and pulled back. Jeremko trying to grab it at the Michigan blue line. Now Jeremko high slot. Malashevsky chases that puck. Outside the near circle, comes back to Hornstra at the near point. Shot that goes wide to the far side. Matthews outside the far circle of her own zone. She's pinned there. Coming over Pot. Gets it back to Hornstra with a shot. That deflected off of Izzy German's skate. Izzy German, she's pulled off the puck outside the near circle. She goes down holding her head. That puck in along the far boards. Izzy German still down. We hope she's all right as collision, and she went down holding her head. And I'm wondering if somehow a stick or something ended up catching her in the face. I didn't see, but Izzy German still on her knees, and now she has her head down on the ice. They have the trainer coming over to try and help her out. As Michigan still shorthanded for 38 seconds. 16:59 left to go here in the second period. As her sister Katie comes over to help Izzy off. Now Ponith comes over to help her. So Katie and Ponith helping Izzy German off the ice. As boy, we hope she's all right. As the entire Michigan, a whole number of Michigan players come over. She is not putting any pressure on that right leg. we hope Izzy will be all right. Huge part of the defensive squad for this Wolverines team. And she is slowly being helped off the ice. Hopefully the trainers can help her out. As trying to get her over that little lip onto the bench has been difficult. They get her sitting down on the bench and she'll be attended to, as all of our best wishes and thoughts go over to really any of these injured players. You never love to see it. As 16:59 left to go. As we'll continue to work on her. Play will continue. Face off to Ponet's right. Decrezian to take the face off. Pot on the other side. As that comes back top of the far circle. Over on the far point. That moved over. One-timer by Heather Lamb. That deflects outside the far circle. Ackroyd gets it back to Adams at the far point. Adams moves it down the blue line now. One time over. Touch pass and shot. Saved by Poneth. As Ackroyd took a shot from the far circle and Poneth able to cover it up. There was a stick there caught underneath her glove too, but was able to get that taken care of, and that will come right back. Face off on the far face off circle. 21 seconds left to go in the power play for the Lakers. Puck loose on the far circle. Trying to pull it away. That's sent to the blue line, held in by Adams. Back over to Adams from Heather Lamb. Now Heather Lamb, top of the near circle, one-time shot. That went off of Katie German's skate. Pulling it outside of the far circle is Ackroyd. Ackroyd gets it back over to Adams. Adams over at the near point to Heather Lamb. Adams sends it on the far circle. Ackroyd with the shot. That goes wide. Michigan back to full strength. The puck comes all the way down into the neutral zone. Chasing it, Rubin into Lakers zone. Rubin with the shot, and a save by Miller. Now Michigan with the quick counterattack, getting that puck into the neutral zone, and Rubin able to get ahead of the defense and come down. Good save by Miller to keep it a 1-0 lead by Michigan. 16:04 left to go here in the second. Face-off is to Miller's right. In the near face-off circle, Tonello battling Rubin. That one by Tonello. Pulled back behind. Tricia Smith moves it ahead. That back into the neutral zone. Racing Tonello trying to get back. 2-on-1. That shot saved by Ponnet. Moved back behind. Battle for it. Lindahl trying to get it back behind the Michigan goal. Now bringing it ahead. Down the near boards. Michigan gets it back into the neutral zone. Tricia Smith trying to move it back in. That will be offsides, and that puck will come outside the Michigan zone into the near face-off circle. 15:38 left to go here in the second. Michigan with the 1-0 lead. Tonello in to take the face-off. On the other side for Michigan was Gargiulo. Bringing it in is Proctor. Proctor chases it into the near corner. Goes right back behind the Laker goal. Proctor battling a pair of Lakers in along the end boards. Proctor moves it into the far corner. That gathered up. Hornstruck knocks it off of the near boards. Trying to pick it up is Levinson as that comes back over. McCarthy has it on the far circle. Now Gargiulo ricochets it off the far boards ahead to Proctor. Proctor bringing it down the far boards of the neutral zone. Proctor with a shot and steered away into the far corner. Hornstra has it underneath the near circle. Hornstra bringing it ahead. That puck through the neutral zone. Gets it over to Jaremko. Jaremko gets it into the slot. Good job to knock it away by forehand. Now Sarah Lamb in along the end boards. Trying to combine Sarah and Heather's name. Sorry about that. That brought back in along the near boards. Bringing ahead is Eliason. Eliason goes off for a line change. Lakers have it right in front of the scorer's bench. Pulling it away is Colwich. Colwich gets it back into the Lakers zone. Heather Lamb feeds it right to center ice, and that dropped back into the Michigan zone. Forehand chases it into the far corner of her own zone. Right out in front, knocked down by Matthews as Jaremko backhanded out in front. That grab by Heather Lamb, now backhanded by Matthews. Pair of 17s tangling there. Forehand trying to knock it away. Now Simmer trying to dig it off the boards, held in at the far point. Right back into the near corner of the Michigan zone. Kolwich with it there. Now Aykroyd holding it. Right back in along the end board. Sarah Lamb has it. Sarah Lamb back to Heather Lamb at the far point. Over to Adams at the near point. Adams with a shot, gloved in. Saved by Pontiff. 13:47 left to go here in the second. 1-0 Michigan with the lead as the sun begins to set outside. Less light coming through the windows here. Got a changing atmosphere at Yost. Malashevsky in to take the faceoff versus Pott in the near faceoff circle. Back to Hornstra at the near point. Hornstra. That deflected in along the near boards, trying to get to it. Swanson now bringing it ahead. Malashevsky. Controlled by Pott. That lost into the far corner. Pott trying to send it down the far boards. Held in at the far point by Katie German. Over to try and grab it is Goldman. Right out. Swanson had that tipped away in along the end board. Swanson underneath the far near circle trying to get it over. Loose. Goldman trying to pick it up. There's a whistle as Swanson ended up down. She's slow to get up. 13:16 left to go. Michigan looks to go on the power play here. As into the box goes Book for tripping. That at 13:16, Michigan on the power play. Face off in the far face-off circle. That is just to the left of Miller. Lindahl trying to pull that puck away now outside the far circle. Katie German has it at the far point. Back onto the far circle. Evans with a shot. Blocker saved by Miller outside the near circle it goes. For Rubin controls it there. High slot for Katie German. That shot got deflected. Heather Lamb trying to fire it down the ice. Held in at the far point by Katie German. Now Evans with a centering attempt. That goes all the way through outside the near circle. Rubin picks it up there. Rubin back to the near point. Rubin high slot over. Katie German trying to get it to Lindahl. That deflected back to the far point. Katie German holds it in. Katie German gets it onto the far circle for Evans. Evans feeds it, and a glove save by Miller. 12:34 left to go here in the second. Michigan up 1-0. 1 minute, 18 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. They'll have that face-off again in the far face-off circle. As Gargiulo wins it back to DeCreasy. DeCreasy feeds it in along the end boards to Matthews. Matthews puts it to Simmer outside the far circle. Simmer drops it back to the blue line to DeCreasy with the shot. Matthews trying to get it out in front. The puck lost. Oh, it goes right back behind. Miller was swinging around trying to find where it got to, and got caught on the netting on the near side. At back, Levinson with the one-timer that goes just wide. Matthews trying to get it underneath the far circle, battling with Tricia Smith. Now Gargiulo into the near corner for Michigan. Gargiulo swinging it, now ricochets it, that loose top of the near circle, gathered by Gary over to Gargiulo. Gargiulo lifts it all the way down the ice. 36 seconds left to go in the Michigan advantage. DeCreasy back behind her own goal. Michigan up 1-0. Quickly ahead to the lone goal scorer, Simmer. Simmer back over to DeCreasy. DeCreasy on the far circle with that shot. Saved, the puck loose, pulled away by Gary. And knocked back all the way. Skittering, saucering back into the Michigan zone. 14 seconds left in the Michigan power play. Levinson brings it down the far boards. Levinson quickly ahead with it. And that will be icing as Simmer trying to tip it, and it just snuck past. 6 seconds left to go in the power play, but that comes all the way back into the Michigan zone. Face off in the near face off circle. That is still left upon it. Sarah Lamb in there versus Matthews. At puck, top of the near circle, gathered by Michigan. Racing ahead with it. It's Simmer. Simmer sends it outside the near circle. Racing to try and get to it before Heather Lamb can. Now Matthews loses an edge. That puck into the far corner. Aykroyd trying to sweep it all the way down. Held in at the far point by McCarthy. Gathered in. Here comes Sarah Lamb over center ice. Sarah Lamb gains the Michigan zone. Sarah Lamb, good poke check by Katie German. to take a good opportunity away from Sarah Lamb. Heavy hit in along the near boards as Evans ends up down on the ice, and that is going to be another Lakers penalty as Gibbs goes into the box. That's an illegal body check. That puts Michigan right back on the power play just after the Lakers squad killed off a big penalty kill. That'll be in the near face-off circle. That to the right of Miller. So it looks like Izzy German, by the way, has her right leg taped. And she was actually able to pull she was able to stand for a second. So we're hoping that she'll be all right and be healthy as soon as she can. That comes back to Katie German at the near point, pulling it over. Top of the near circle to Rubin. Rubin makes it, eye slot over to Katie German. Puck went settled down for her. That back into the neutral zone. Katie German moving it along right in front of the Michigan bench. Pulled in by Lindahl. Lindahl comes over outside the far circle. Lindahl goes back behind the goal from the far side to the near side. Lindahl moves it, top of the near circle for Rubin. Rubin. One-timer by Katie German. That deflected out in front. Swanson trying to get a redirection. And puck in along the near boards. 1 minute, 23 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. Michigan up 1-0, 10-10 left to go in the second. Pulled back over by Rubin. Rubin comes high slot. Top of the far circle, shot by Katie German, bounces just wide. Hornstra has it off of the near boards. Lindahl trying to get it, but that's sent all the way down. Cleared by the Lakers. Lakers get a much-needed line change. Katie German will collect it in along the far boards of her own zone, feeding it ahead. Here comes Matthews, gains his own! And offsides the call. Oh, they had something cooking there and just couldn't stay on sides long enough to make something happen. Gargiulo in to take the face-off versus Tonello. As that puck popped up high, gathered in by Levinson, right at center ice, trying to get it. That pulled away by Gary. Gary racing into the Michigan zone. Gary on the far circle. Gary into the far corner, battling DeCrezi, so a pair of threes there, trying to work against each other. Levinson sets up shop back behind her own net. 30 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. Bringing it ahead down the near boards is Gargiulo. All the way along the far boards, trying to get it back to Gargiulo. Here comes Simmer. Simmer in along the near boards of the Lakers zone. Coming in with it, Gargiulo on the near circle. Gargiulo spins outside the near circle. Gargiulo trying to get to Levinson, wouldn't settle down for her. Trying to move it over into the near corner, Michigan. 10 seconds left to go on the power play. Simmer has it back behind the goal. Simmer has it knocked away by Heather Lamb. 3 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. DeCrezi at the far point. Puts it, trying to get it back to DeCrezi. Lakers back to full strength, back in it, shot! Oh, that just goes through the crease into the far corner. Simmer almost had herself a second goal. Pulling it ahead, here comes Levinson. Levinson gains his own high slot with the shot. That knocked, saved, right back into the neutral zone. Sarah Lamb, top of the near circle with the shot, glove down by Boniff. 8:28 left to go here in the second. 1-0 Michigan with the lead. It was 1-0 first time these two teams tangled up at the Sioux. 2-0 Michigan won the second game. Michigan coming off of a loss to Indiana Tech, trying to get back on the winning ways. Lakers trying to get their first win in Division I. And coming along, that on edge all the way back into the Lakers zone. Hornstra has it outside the near circle. Well, despite the 0-6 record, the Lakers have definitely played the Wolverines very hard and made it tough games in all the games we played so far. Kolwich trying to get it, moves it over in along the far boards as forehand gets it back, gathered in as Tricia Smith ricochets it off the near boards, trying to get it over to Gibbs. Knocked away by Michigan. Tricia Smith along the near boards. That gathered in by Hornstra on the near circle of her own zone. Stolen away by Swanson. Swanson on the far circle. Going back behind. The Lakers go from the far side to the near side. She's ridden off the puck as that comes all the way back, sliding into the Michigan zone. Katie German has it over her own blue line, coming down the far boards. Katie German trying to make a move, trying to get it past Pot. Katie German has it poked away, but gathering it back in was Christensen. Christensen sets it outside the far circle. Hornstruck gets it back on edge all the way back to the Michigan blue line. Katie German gathers it in there. Knocked off of the near boards. Christensen chasing it. Now Rubin trying to get to it before Tricia Smith. Moving it over to Christensen. Christensen with a shot. There's a pad save, swept in along the far boards. Collected there as Devora trying to bring it ahead into the Michigan zone as McCarthy trying to knock it away. That comes underneath the near circle. Here comes Christensen along the near boards, outside the near circle in the Michigan zone. Christensen trying to get it away from Tonello. That rolls on edge all the way back into the Lakers zone. Adams picks it up there. 6:40 left to go here in the second. Michigan up 1-0. Racing in. Oakes trying to get to it and along the end boards of the Michigan zone. McCarthy trying to knock that away. Now Gargiulo has it outside the far circle of her own zone. Held in at the far point. Bouncing puck. Gargiulo gets it over her own blue line. Christensen tips it, but that gathered in by Adams right at her own blue line. Adams feeds it to the Michigan blue line and pulled away. Here comes Proctor. Proctor with one defender in front. Good poke check to knock it away as that comes in along the near boards. That was Heather Lamb with a good poke check. Shot and a save by Proctor. Captain Heather Lamb did a nice job to knock that away from Michigan, stopping a one-on-one opportunity and letting her rest of her team come back and support her. And they were able to get a counterattack and put a shot on goal. 6:04 left to go here in the second. 1-0 Michigan with the lead. High slot, shot for Adams, glove saved by Poneth. Lakers back to full strength as we are being serenaded, told to not stop believing by a certain Boston band. Coming back out into the near corner. Dremko with it outside the near circle. Centering attempt. That puck loose. Oh, and that squeezes all the way into the far corner. Gary trying to get to it, but it wouldn't settle down. Coming all the way back to the near point. That puck skitters into the neutral zone. Collected by Adams. Moved down the far boards to Heather Lamb. Now Gary trying to feed it ahead to Sarah Lamb. Forehand and Sarah Lamb in along the end boards. Dremko trying to feed it out in front. Now Sarah Lamb right back behind. Proctor trying to get to it. That's in the slot. Now on the far circle. Back to Heather Lamb at the far point. Shot. Save by Poneth. And a good job to get the stick out and keep that rebound from being fed out in front of her. 5:20 left to go. Face off in the far face-off circle. That to the right of Poneth. Matthews in to take the face-off versus Pot. Outside the far circle, Pot with it into the far corner of the Michigan zone. Pot underneath the far circle. Now sends it back to the far point. Hornstra with the shot. That deflected out in front. And a great save by Poneth as it got deflected and was sitting right on the edge of the crease. Racing in. Aykroyd got a point-blank shot. And Poneth somehow able to gobble that up. Force a face-off in the near face-off circle. Comes back to the near point. Tricia Smith has that pass intercepted. Coming ahead with it. Michigan trying to get it over to DeCreasy. Simmer pulls it in along the far boards. Now Matthews trying to get it ahead. And that pulled back to McCarthy at her own blue line. She feeds it in and into the near corner. Tricia Smith has it back behind her own goal. Feeds it along the far boards. Racing in. Katie German puts it on the far circle. And sent back into the neutral zone along the far boards. Kolwich has it at her own blue line. Kolwich ricochets it off the far boards. And it's right back. Katie German trying to get to it. Back to Kolwich. Now Kolwich knocks it off the near boards, trying to get to it. Here comes DeCreasy. DeCreasy put a shot in. Oh, what a beautiful shot. DeCreasy with her 5th goal of the season, as that was a pinpoint accuracy. She got it just in the upper right-hand corner. There's nothing Miller could do about that one, as DeCreasy continues her career as a sniper shooter. As, boy, she just picked her spot and put it in. 2-0, Michigan with the lead. That at 4:22. See if there is a assist on that one. As the puck gathered in, brought in by Rubin. Rubin's shot got deflected off of Book. Rubin holding it in at the far point. She ends up on the ice. Lindahl chases it in along the end boards. Lindahl moves it back over. Katie German trying to fire it out in front. And puck in along the near boards. Excuse me, that was Evans. And pulled back. Heather Lamb has it back behind her own goal. Heather Lamb fakes going to the far side, comes over to the near side. Heather Lamb trying to get it out of the zone, sends it into the neutral zone. Matthews on the assist on the DeCreasy goal. As that puck trying to fire it ahead is Oaks, sent back over to Malashevsky. Malashevsky puts it into the near corner, but offsides the call. 3:32 left to go here in the second. Michigan with the 2-0 lead, but the Lakers have really not let anything happen easily as they have battled tooth and nail here. Malashevsky to take the face-off in the near face-off circle. Sarah Lamb on the other side. Goldman to her left and coming over, Gary right in front of the Michigan bench, sends it into the Michigan zone. McCarthy loses an edge in along the far boards, but gets it over to Goldman. Goldman trying to bring it over center ice. That tipped away from her, but here comes Katie German. Katie German trying to make her way in, but offsides the call. .313 left to go here in the second. Face-off in the far face-off circle outside the Lakers zone. Sarah Lamb trying to get it. That moves over to Jaremko. Jaremko has that poked away by Katie German. Katie German back to the far point, but held in there by Hornstra. High slot. And blocked by McCarthy as Gary puts it back right back behind the Michigan goal. Jaremko has it in the near corner. McCarthy trying to separate her from the puck. Comes outside the far circle for Swanson. Swanson has that puck drifting in along the near boards of Michigan zone. Goldman gathers it in there. Goldman trying to feed it ahead. That puck loose, and that will be a high stick call. As Jaremko goes into the box for a high stick. That at 2:41. Third Laker penalty of this period. Face-off in the near face-off circle. Michigan with the advantage, 2:40 left to go. That cleared all the way down the ice, stopped by Poneth. Poneth gets ahead to Levinson. Levinson bringing ahead, 2-0 Michigan with the lead. Gathered in and sent the other direction by the Lakers right into the neutral zone. Picked up, moved over to Levinson down the near boards, ahead to Gargiulo. Gargiulo right at center ice, gets it over to DeCreasy. DeCreasy, who had her fifth goal moments ago on the far circle. DeCreasy outside the far circle, trying to move it back to the high slot. That just slips wide. Levinson chases it back into her own zone. Levinson feeds it through the neutral zone. That gathered in by Heather Lamb, who fires it right back, clearing all the way back in along the end boards of the Michigan zone. 1 minute, 15 seconds left to go in the Michigan advantage. Levinson gets it over to DeCreasy. DeCreasy banks it off of the near boards and gathered and fired the other direction by Adams. 1 minute, 45 seconds left to go in the second. Levinson coming down the far boards of her own zone. Levinson over her own blue line. Levinson over center ice. Levinson gains his own outside the near circle. Levinson into the near corner of the Lakers zone. Out in front, trying to get it to Matthews. And loose, top of the near circle. Banked by Devora, but held in at the near point by Gargiulo. Gargiulo puts it into the near corner for Matthews. Matthews brings it from the near side to the far side, right back behind the Laker goal. Incoming is Lindahl. Lindahl brings it right back the other direction in along those end boards. Lindahl underneath the near circle, gets it back over to Rubin. Rubin over to Lindahl on the far circle. That bounced off of her stick as Devora sends it up into the Michigan bench. As Zimmer has to go and try and find that puck in along the bench and hand it over to the linesman. 59.8 seconds left to go in the second. 18 seconds left in the Michigan power play, and one of the most dangerous Laker players is in the box, Jaremko. And puck, top of the far circle, now high slot for Rubin. Rubin moves it over, that shot deflected. Katie German chasing it, now Heather Lamb gets it back into the neutral zone. All the way back, 5 seconds left to go in the power play for Michigan. Rubin trying to bring it up the far boards, trying to avoid pressure by Gary. And banked off of the far boards and brought right back in by Heather Lamb. Lakers back to full strength. Rubin has it underneath the near circle. 30 seconds left to go in the second. That puck deflects and icing waved off as that's right back behind Miller on the Lakers side. Adams has it there. Trying to pull it away, Swanson. Poking away, Jaremko. 15 seconds left to go as it's into the near corner. Lakers trying to bring it ahead. That deflects, top of the near circle. Evans trying to hold it in. Sarah Lamb brings it down now. Jaremko has it poked away from forehand. Gets it back to Jaremko at the far point. But that will do it. There is the whistle. And that is the end of the second. So Michigan with a goal in the first by Simmer at 9:16. A Bringley 1-0 lead into the second. Michigan had a penalty at 18:21, roughing the forehand. Then there was the first of 3 Lake State penalties at 13:06. It was a tripping called the book. Then at 10:52, it was a illegal body check to Gibbs. And Michigan had a goal at 4:22. It was DeCreasy with their 5th goal of the season, assist to Matthews. Then the final Laker penalty of the second at 2:41, high stick to Jaremko, and that's where we are. As little fun story from another, they were playing I'll come back to that because I just had a mind blank. They were playing a fun song that I had a story with from back in my time working at Polygram Records, but apparently I'm getting old as the memory just went, and we're not going to talk about that. So let's play a little bit of the Victors. We'll come back with your Michigan intermission scoreboard report, and I'll see if I can't come up with that lovely story. You're watching Michigan Women's Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting, 2-0 Michigan at the second intermission. As we are at the second intermission, 2-0 Michigan with the lead. As a story I was going to tell, And now I've blown it way out of proportion, so you'll think, man, what was that all about? But I used to work at Polygram Records. I was going to work in the record industry, and I did a couple internships with them towards the end of my college career, 2 separate times. And when I was working there, we had a very famous DJ, Goldie, come in. And so all the Detroit DJs came to meet Goldie. So you have all the big Detroit DJs at the time, and this was back in 97, so that tells you how old I am. And so we had all these posters in the back that we would send all the record stores to try and promote this. And all of these hardcore techno DJs, big into EDM and techno and the electronic music scene, they all asked for one poster. And you can probably guess, because I mentioned Shania Twain, there was a picture off of Shania Twain's album with her lounging on her shoulder. And every single one of those 20 hardcore machismo Detroit techno DJs wanted that Shania Twain poster to put up in that DJ booth. And I just thought that was funny. So anyway, taking a look now, 2-0 Michigan with the lead over Lake Superior State, as pulling up the Michigan schedule from back when last we talked the game back on the 22nd. On the 23rd, both the men's tennis and the women's tennis were at the ITA Midwest Regional Championships non-scoring event. In field hockey back on the 23rd, Michigan able to beat Iowa, number 8 Iowa, 1-0. Volleyball, Michigan fell to number 5 Wisconsin 3-1. The sets were 25-22, 18-25, 22-25, and 19-25. Women's soccer had the 1-0 loss that versus Indiana. On Monday, October 29th, both men's and women's tennis continue at the IA Midwest Regional Championships non-scoring event. On Tuesday, October 25th, men's soccer was at Notre Dame. Notre Dame won that game 3-2. On Wednesday, October 26th, Michigan volleyball was at number 6 Ohio State. Ohio State swept it 3-0, winning 17-25, 21-25, and 23-25. On the 27th, men's tennis continued at the ITA Midwest Championships. On Friday, October 28th, women's golf was at the Landfall Traditional. They were tied for 6th after day 1. Women's tennis was at the Puerto Rico Invitational non-scoring event. Women's lacrosse was at the Big Ten Championships. They scored 2nd out of 14. Men's lacrosse was at the Big Ten Championships. They scored 2nd out of 12. Field hockey played at number 18 Ohio State. They won that one 3-1. And ice hockey had a big weekend versus Western. Western, a team that would not give up, but Michigan won the first game of those two 5-4 here at Yost Ice Arena. Saturday, the 29th, women's golf continued at the Landfall Traditional. They were 7th after day 2. Women's tennis at the Puerto Rico Invitational, that non-scoring. Ice hockey had a 6-5 overtime win at number 17 Western Michigan, dealing with all the Lawson lunatics over there in Kalamazoo. And football beat Michigan State here at the Big House 29-7. Moving forward a little bit, taking a look at action that on the 30th of October, again, Michigan continuing Michigan women's golf at the Landfall Traditional. They were 8th out of 18 after that day. Rowing had a event versus Michigan State. Men's soccer lost versus Penn State 3-2. And in volleyball, Michigan able to sweep all 3 sets versus Michigan State 25-17, 25-17, and 26-24. Wednesday, the IAT National Fall Championships for men and women's tennis at a non-scoring event happened. On Thursday, November 3rd, field hockey played number 9 Iowa. They won 3-0. Men's and women's tennis continued at the IAT National Fall Championships. And on Friday, November 4th, at men's tennis, they played in the Big Ten Singles and Doubles Championship, that non-scoring. Women's tennis was at the ASU Invite. That was a non-scoring event. field hockey had a huge win versus number 3 Penn State. They won 2-1. Men's tennis and women's tennis again continued at the IAT National Fall Championships. Men's swimming and diving hosted Purdue. Michigan won that one 184.5 to 113.5. Women's swimming and diving was over at Eastern Michigan. Michigan won that one 227 to 70. Women's swimming and diving had a match versus Ohio. They won that one 211 to 68 or 86, excuse me. Men's basketball had an exhibition versus Ferris State. They won that one 88 to 75. Volleyball played at Minnesota. They got swept 3 sets to none, 21 to 25, 20 to 25, and 22 to 25. And ice hockey had a tough night over in Hockey Valley. Number 13 Penn State beat them, shutting them out 3-0. There's something. Women's swimming and diving hosted number 18 Northwestern. They won that one today, 162 to 137. Men's swimming and diving also hosted number 24 Northwestern. They won that one, 204 to 95. Women's basketball and exhibition versus Damien. They won that one, 87 to 32. And that is it. Everything else happening later, 7:30 for the men's hockey team at State College. And football kicking off at 7:30 over in Piscataway. Also, a huge congratulations to a future Michigan athlete as Natalie Millman won the state field hockey championship with Pioneer High School for Division I. She is set. She's a Michigan commit and set to play with the Michigan field hockey team next season, where she will join former Pioneer field hockey player Bormet. So nice local, lots of really good local field hockey players, as Pioneer local high school played Skyline, one of the other local Ann Arbor high schools, for that championship. A Michigan player, Wiseman, for Skyline, is set to join Michigan not next season but the season after that. So lots of good action, but it is the second intermission, so you know what time it is. It's time for I Can't Turn You Loose here at the second intermission. 2-0, Michigan with the lead.
Well, good afternoon and welcome once again to the Michigan Amphitheater. You know, so much of the music we hear today is this pre-programmed electronic disco. You never get a chance to hear master bluesmen practicing their craft. By the year 2006, the music now known as the blues will exist only in the classical record department of your local public library. And so, this afternoon, while we still can, let us welcome from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Gary Lewis and his blues band. Gary Lewis and his blues band.
As you watch Lake Superior State, you might see they do have a number 18 jersey that is above the bench that they hang there, and it is actually a jersey that they've said they will take with them wherever they go, as it is for Robinson. It's in honor of a player who has tragically never got to see the ice for the Lady Lakers. Robinson was killed in June 2021 when her vehicle was struck by a truck that was being pursued by law enforcement outside of Guido's Premium Pizza in Sault Ste. Marie. She was on her way from her job at an animal shelter to meet up with French. She was 20 years old. Parker, who at the time was in her second year coaching at Lake Superior State, but at her 18th at the local level, has seen her fair of tragedies. However, Robinson's death was a brutal body check. So they put that up there. And thank you very much to the Sioux leader for having that byline by Rich Green as just something that you see if you watch the Lakers play. They had it, the D2 team at the CCWHA Championships. And I just never got a chance to ask what it was about. So definitely a sad story, and well done on the Lakers to keep her memory alive and with them. As Michigan comes out, they have the 2-0 lead here at the second intermission as we were about to head into the third. Again, if you want to reach out to us, you can. It's arborbroadcasting@gmail.com. That is arborbroadcasting@gmail.com. It is our distinct privilege to bring you the Michigan women's hockey team. We'll be back on the air tomorrow at 3:30 for the second of these games as Lake Superior State will spend the night down here with the rest of us trolls underneath the bridge. And they will play at Yost tomorrow at 3:30. So if you're not able to get to the game today, but you'll be anywhere in the Ann Arbor area tomorrow, come on out. Cheer on these teams. Never a bad time to come into Yost. You got your pick of seats out here. I believe they're doing a pie throwing contest after this game in order to support their trip out to Utah. So if you want to throw a pie, come on down at the end of the third period. That bringing ahead. Check out their Twitter for more information. Swanson trying to grab that. That sent right through the crease. Ponith knocks it over and along the far boards. Kolwitz trying to get it out. The puck just got stuck there on that far circle. Rubens trying to pull it away. That off the side of the goal and grabbed by Ponith. 19:37 left to go here in the second intermission, or in the third period. Face-off in the far face-off circle. Matthews in to take the face-off. Jaremko looks like, nope, that's going to be Sarah Lamb on the other side. That puck, top of the far circle. Gary grabs it, shot. That got deflected off of Matthews. Bringing ahead. Here comes DeCreasy. DeCreasy, who had her fifth goal in the second period, dropped back over to Simmer. That knocked away, trying to bring it the other direction. It's Jaremko. Held in at the blue line by DeCreasy. That picked up underneath the far circle into the far corner. DeCreasy has it there, trying to fire it into the high slot for Katie German. Katie German puts it in, and it's a goal. As a shot from the high slot, I'm not sure if Simmer tipped it out in front. There was a lot of traffic out there. Katie German first through skating past the bench. It was definitely her shot that propelled it, but Simmer was right out in front, and I believe Miller was screened and didn't even see that rocket blast coming. Michigan takes the 3-0 lead, that at 19-11. Face-off brought in along the far boards as that's sent ahead by Levinson. Now Eliason has that pulled away by Sarah Lamb. And along the near boards, Hornstra trying to get it ahead to Gary. McCarthy holding it in. And picked up by Hornstra. She gets over her own blue line, bringing it down the far boards. Here comes Sarah Lamb. Tips it over to Oakes. Gathered in. Here comes Eliason down the far boards in neutral zone. Eliason tips it on edge, and that covered up by Miller. 18:47 left to go here in the third. 3-0 Michigan with a goal here early in the third. Face-off in the far face-off circle. That's Pop versus Matthews. Or Malashevsky, excuse me. That pulled away. Tricia Smith puts it in along the boards outside the near circle. Ackroyd trying to pull it out. That held in. Proctor has it. Knocked away. Held in at the near point. And they put it, and the puck waved off. Pulled over as it was an assist to Katie German. Couldn't tell who had the goal. Well, Simmer with the goal, excuse me. That pulled back away as I was trying to listen. A shot that almost looked like it went in by the Lakers. Poneth able to sweep it away. Now coming ahead with it. Here comes Back underneath, Pot has it. Pot tipped away by Levinson. Levinson coming down the far boards. Levinson gets it back into the neutral zone. That slips right to center ice. Fed right back in on edge, in along the near boards. That gathered in by McCarthy. McCarthy gets it over to Proctor. Trying to battle. Devora had it, top of the near circle. Now Tonello puts it right back behind the Michigan goal. Levinson trying to get around Oaks. Levinson trying to poke that away outside the far circle. Now that fired all the way down the ice. That is going to be icing. They'll head back into the Michigan zone. 17:30 left to go here in the third. 3-0 Michigan with the lead. Excellent opportunity in that last shift by the Lakers as they took it right off of the faceoff, traveled down, and that must have hit the post on the far side. Tonello taking the faceoff versus Malshevsky. That goes right back behind Poneth. Levinson picks it up in the far corner. Levinson trying to feed it out. That slips down the far boards back into the neutral zone. Gathered in at center ice by Adams. Adams gains the Michigan zone, but it's poked away. Now brought in by Tonello, but that offsides. And we'll bring it right back out into the neutral zone. Face-off in the near face-off circle outside the Michigan zone. Swanson in to take the face-off. And Sarah Lamb on the other side. Lindahl brings it ahead. That poked away by Heather Lamb. As Heather Lamb chases it into the near corner of her own zone. Now back behind her own goal. Heather Lamb has that poked away. Sends it back. Kolwich keeps it in at the far point. And deflected. Here comes Gary down the near boards over on blue line. Gary over center ice gains the Michigan zone. Gary outside the near circle. Centering attempt. That goes all the way outside to the far circle. Lindahl gathers it in along the far boards. Lindahl ricochets it ahead to Evans. Evans at the far point. Evans has that pulled away. And coming the other direction, Michigan puts it right back in the Lakers zone, but it's fired right back out to Gary. Gary puts it deep into the Michigan zone as she goes for a line change. Poneth moves it back behind, now bringing it ahead Michigan. And it goes all the way down the ice. Icing waved off. Simmer chasing it. Simmer goes back behind the Lake State goal into the near corner. Simmer trying to pull it away from Hornstra. Now Aykroyd coming in to tip it away. And pull back to Creasy with a centering attempt. That goes top of the far circle. Shot by Matthews. And sticked away by Miller. Puck loose on the far circle. Matthews has it knocked away. Here comes Gibbs. Gibbs over on blue line down the far boards. Gibbs ricochets it off the far boards as that goes right back behind the Michigan goal. Katie German chases it into the near corner, trying to move it ahead for Simmer. Simmer has that poked away by Potts, but gets it back into the neutral zone. And puck loose right at the near point, now fired back in by Heather Lamb. Gathered in by Forehand. Forehand banks it off the far boards. Coming back, Pot knocks it off the near boards, feeding it ahead. Heather Lamb chasing it into the near corner. Heather Lamb gets to it before Forehand, fires it out in front. And pulled away. Good job by Katie German. Now coming the other direction. Devora with a shot. Saved by Poneth. Swept into the far corner by Katie German. Matthews brings it up the ice. That right to center ice. Gathered in by Heather Lamb. She ricochets it all the way back into the Michigan zone. Forehand trying to avoid pressure. Gets it to Christensen over on blue line. Christensen right over center ice. Christensen gains the Lake State zone. That's swept back. Right back behind Miller into the near corner. Racing to get to it is Eliason. That puck loose underneath the near circle. Now back to the near point. McCarthy holds it in. Here comes Eliason on the near circle. Getting it over to Christensen on the far circle, but it wouldn't settle down for her. Into the far corner. Tonello has it. Tonello moving it ahead. Now trying to get it back in the neutral zone. Tonello sweeps it into the Michigan zone. That heads all the way back and along the end line. Eliason has it there. Eliason pulled off the puck. And gathered. Tricia Smith fires it right back behind. Now picking it up. Actually, I believe that's Gary trying to fire it out in front. And puck loose along the near boards of the Michigan zone. McCarthy trying to get to it. Now Gargiulo in the near corner. That swept back to the near point where Hornstra puts a shot. That went off of Gargiulo. Skate shot out in front. Poneth with the save. Another save as Gary got the rebound and fired it. But Poneth was able to slide from the left to the right. Picking it up, Hornstra at the near point. Hornstra sweeps it back behind. And sticked in held. Oh, as Poneth got a glove on it, it slipped out. But able to see, losing the vision of the puck was the official. Poneth again with a couple highlight reel saves, keeping it Michigan 3, Lake State nothing. Face off in the far face-off circle, that DePonet's left. As into the far corner goes Kolwich, trying to get it away from Pot. Now Malashevsky trying to pull that away. Pot with it on the far circle. Now Gibbs tries to get it. That back into the neutral zone, all the way back into the Lakers zone. That will be icing, and that back into the Michigan end. 13:44 left to go here in the third. 3-0 Michigan with the lead here at Yost Ice Arena. Face-off in the far face-off circle. Malashevsky in to take the face-off versus Pot. As outside the far circle, Kolwich takes it in along the end boards, back behind their goal from the far side to the near side. Trying to steal that away is Gibbs. Coming down the near boards, here comes Proctor. Proctor over center ice. Proctor gains the zone. Proctor outside the near circle, coming in. Wide angle shot, and she scores! Proctor caught it just underneath the crossbar as just a wicked wide angle shot for Erin Proctor, and she gets on the board. 4-0, Michigan with the lead. As again, just a perfectly placed shot. There has been a couple beautiful, beautiful goals by Michigan that really nothing Miller could do about it, as they have just been placed. DeCreasy had one top right-hand corner. That one Proctor catching just underneath the crossbar. Here comes Lindahl. Lindahl coming in. Lindahl high slot. She's pulled off the puck into the near corner. Lindahl gets it back. Going back behind Miller. Lindahl outside the far circle with it. Lindahl now moves it over to forehand, top of the near circle. Forehand has it deflected into the near corner. Swanson trying to get it. Now Lindahl poking away as Heather Lamb gets that over to Devora. Devora has it. Knocked away. Trying to hold it in with Swanson. Swanson back to Lindahl in the near corner. And grabbed by Devora. Devora in along the near boards. Pulled back by Swanson. Now gathering it in, Evans, and fed around, picking it up Oaks in along the far boards. Held in at the far point by Katie German. That puck on the far circle. Moved over on the near side to Heather Lamb. Heather Lamb gets it into the neutral zone. Devora backhands it ahead. Here comes Tonello. Tonello gets it over to Oaks. Oaks' shot goes wide. Katie German gathers it and along outside the far circle. And ahead to Simmer. Simmer racing down. Spinning puck. Simmer trying to gather it into the near corner. Knocked the other direction by Heather Lamb. DeCreasy trying to hold it in. Her and Gary battling. Now back over to Simmer. Simmer to DeCreasy. Out in the slot. And it goes in! As DeCreasy put it over. And I believe that was Matthews who put it in. And Michigan goes up by a score of 5-0. I believe that was Matthews from DeCreasy. We'll see if we can hear the public address announcer. As Michigan, and if the alumni pep band were here, they'd be playing Hawaii 5-0 as a theme song. That knocked over. Here comes Matthews. Matthews on the far circle shot. Miller moves it over in along the near boards. Gathered in. Lakers still trying to play hard with it. It's trying to get it out of the zone. It's Hornstra over to Gary. Gary has that deflected right at the blue line. Brings it over center ice. Knocked away from Gary by Gargiulo now. Coming in Jaremko. Jaremko high slot onto the near circle. Jaremko with a shot that goes wide. Eliason picks it up outside the far circle. Trying to hold it in at the far point. It's Tricia Smith. And move back over. Yes. In Matthews from DeCreasy, I believe that was. It was definitely Matthews who got the goal. So yeah, Matthews from DeCreasy, number 3. So both Simmer and DeCreasy get the assist. They both had goals earlier, so why not get an assist with their goals? In along the near boards, bringing out his Ackroyd. Ackroyd feeds it deep. 11:16 left to go here in the third. Rubin feeds it along the far boards. Kolwich gets it into the neutral zone. Gathered in by Heather Lamb. Heather Lamb knocks it off the near boards. Racing for it. Rubin into the near corner. And sent into the far corner. Kolwich feeds it ahead. That tip by Eliason back into the neutral zone, gathered and fired the other direction by Heather Lamb. Pulled down by Rubin. Rubin gets it to Eliason right at center ice. Eliason backhands it into the Lakers zone, but Adams quickly ricochets it off the near boards for coming in. Pot shot that went off of Rubin's skate. Goldman has it in along the far boards. Goldman battling Gibbs, trying to pull it off the far boards. Gets ahead to Lindahl. Lindahl out into the neutral zone. Excuse me, that was Malashevsky bringing it in. Here comes Michigan as Goldman with the shot. That got deflected by Heather Lamb right off of her shit. Back into the neutral zone it goes. Katie German gets it over and pulled away from Goldman. Coming in with it. Here comes Tonello. Tonello in along the end boards, right back behind the Michigan goal. Malashevsky chips it along the far boards outside the far circle. There is a whistle and a penalty upcoming for a cross check. As looks like Katie German goes into the box for the cross check. That at 10:03. So Michigan on the penalty kill. Trying not to give the Lakers any life as the Lakers have continued to battle and play hard, but Michigan doesn't want to give them any kind of opening to get their confidence up and going. And brought back Gary, or excuse me, that was Tricia Smith. Cross-checking the call against Katie German. And brought ahead. Here comes Jeremko down the far boards. Jeremko gains the Michigan zone. Jeremko in the high slot. Shot! Saved by Poneth. Jeremko gets it back outside the near circle. Jeremko comes to the near point. High slot for Jeremko. Moves it top of the far circle. Bringing it in. Here comes Hornstra. Hornstra backhands it out in front. Excellent defensive play down there by McCarthy, because sitting right on the edge was Gary, and McCarthy knocked that away. Out in front. That brought in and covered up by Poneth. 9:19 left to go here in the third. 1 minute, 16 seconds left to go in the Laker power play. Face-off in the near face-off circle. This is the highest that Michigan has scored in a game yet this season. As that puck loose, sticked away by Poneth, back behind Rubin. Takes it down the far boards. Rubin brings it ahead, backhands it all the way into the Lakers zone, clearing it. 1 minute, 4 seconds left in the Laker power play. And moved over and along the far boards. Heather Lamb brings it ahead. Heather Lamb gets it over her own blue line, coming down into the Michigan zone, top of the far circle. Heather Lamb, that shot got blocked by Rubin. Outside the near circle it goes. Picked up there by Aykroyd, back over to Adams at the far point, top of the far circle. Pull back over. Adams with a shot that goes wide. Bounces right out into the slot. Shot. Poneth with a save. Loose again. Another shot pad saved by Poneth. That comes all the way back to the near point. Adams with it. Adams moves it over. One-timer by Heather Lamb. That pulled away by Kolwich into the near corner. Pot trying to pull that away, and Aykroyd trying to get it off of the near boards. Aykroyd pulls it outside the near circle. 17 seconds left in the advantage for the Lakers. Here comes Aykroyd on the near circle. Shot and a save by Poneth. 10 seconds left to go in the Laker power play. 8:13 left to go in the third. Michigan up 5-0, as the most they had scored before was 3 goals, and they've done that twice, once versus Michigan State, once versus Indiana Tech. But this beats that by 2 goals. Michigan hoping to get their offense really going and alive, and it looks like they've done just that today, as that's fired all the way down the ice. Lake State back to full strength. Malashevsky chases it back behind the goal, and picked up by Oakes coming down the far boards, trying to hold it in as Proctor at the far point. Levinson chipping away at it, and back in front of the Lakers bench in the neutral zone. Levinson knocks it off the far boards, trying to go the other direction, but Oakes ricochets it deep, that in along the M boards. Gathering it up, Levinson. She backhands it in along the near boards. Here comes Michigan. Proctor feeds it ahead. Goldman right at center ice. Goldman trying to get past Knapp. Goldman right into the slot. Pulled away by Tricia Smith. Tricia Smith rims that out and gathered in by Knapp. Knapp feeds it. That slips all the way back, skittering into the Michigan zone. Forehand and foot race, trying to get to it before Oakes knocks it off of the glass. And pulled back over Oakes. Centering attempt. That backhanded shot off the side of the net. Oakes with it in along the end boards. Sends it out high slot, trying to get it to Adams. That poked away by Michigan. Adams sends it into the far corner. 7 minutes left to go here in the third as that puck lifts right back behind Ponith. Trying to gather it. That fired out in front. Adams in the high slot. Pulled back by Rubin. Or forehand, excuse me. Now here comes Jeremko. Jeremko, top of the far circle. Trying to pull that away was Goldman. Now Malashevsky chases Jeremko back behind the Michigan goal. Into the near corner. Heather Lamb with it. Extended time in the Michigan period for the Lakers. Wraparound attempt. That knocked down right on the far circle. Here comes Michigan racing down the far boards. Over their own blue line. That's sent deep by Malashevsky. Back behind Miller. That is going to be icing and head back the other direction, as that was just from the wrong side of center ice. 6:19 left to go. As we have plenty of time now for you to watch the end of this game and then get ready for that game in Piscataway, Rutgers versus your Michigan football team. Trying to stay unbeaten. As Michigan now trying to make a change who's in there. Rubin in for the face-off versus Pott in that far face-off circle. Trying to bring it ahead to Creasy, and that pulled back over by Pott. Pott backhands it in along the end boards. Rubin chases it back behind her own goal, sends it into the far corner. Levinson trying to get it out of the zone, held in by Tricia Smith. That puck loose on the near circle as Gibbs with it outside the near circle. That goes right back behind the Michigan goal. As Rubin has that pulled away by Aykroyd. Aykroyd into the near corner of the Michigan zone. Aykroyd gets it back to the near point to Hornstra. That knockdown out in front. Forehand over to Levinson. Levinson trying to get it down the ice, and instead, friendly fire as that went right into the Michigan bench. I think Swanson ended up taking that one in the chest. Well, you can't take a moment in your concentration off the game, even if you're not playing, because you never know what's going to happen. Because it was fired from the Michigan zone, it's back into the Michigan end. Trying to put it into the near corner is Gary. Gary deflects it off of the near end boards. Kolwich with it in the far corner. Kolwich trying to bring it down through the neutral zone. Hornstra has it at her own blue line. Hornstra gets it ahead to Gary. Gary floats it back in along the end boards. Rubin picks it up right back behind Ponith. Rubin trying to avoid pressure, has it underneath the near circle. That brought down the near boards by Christensen. Eliasson tried to grab it, wouldn't settle down. Tricia Smith feeds it ahead. That puck grab. Here comes Jeremko with a shot that deflected right into the slot. Sweeping over, poking away. Ponith able to cover it up. As a little bumping and shoving right in front of the goal mouth, and everyone's separated and moves out for a line change. Face off in the far face off circle, that back to the blue line. Fired by Heather Lamb, that deflected in the slot in along the near boards. Forehand moves it down. That tipped by Adams, keeping it in the neutral zone. Now Devora over to Heather Lamb. Into the Michigan zone, down in along the near boards, back behind the Michigan goal. Katie German has it. Katie German ahead to Evans. Evans over her own blue line. Evans gets it over to Lindahl. Banked off of the near boards. Lindahl outside the near circle. Lindahl trying to get a out in front, and that was knocked away. Shot! And saved by Miller as Swanson had it in the slot, pulling it down the other direction. Here comes Tonello. Tonello gets it into the Michigan zone. That into the slot, swept away by Lindahl, moving it ahead. And gathered in by Adams right at her own blue line. Knocked away, collected by Oakes. Oakes gets it over to Heather Lamb. In along the near boards, bringing it in is Gibbs. Gibbs has that back to the blue line, able to hold it in. Gibbs ricochets it off the near boards. That over to Pott. Pott gets it, top of the far circle, into the far corner. Katie German trying to pull that away. Loose on the far circle. Back top of the near circle for Hornstra. Lindahl trying to grabbed that. Now into the near corner for Gibbs. Gibbs back to the near point for Hornstra, shoveled out in front. Pott trying to knock it away, and covering it up is Proctor. 3:44 left to go here in the third. Michigan up 5-0 over the Lake Superior State Lakers. Lakers were a Division II team. They now have both a Division I and a Division II team moving up this season. As that loose in the far circle, McCarthy banks it off the end boards. Goldman trying to get to it. That brought back to the far point. Tricia Smith. That shot just goes wide outside the near circle. Trying to feed it ahead was Proctor. Now Proctor over on blue line. Proctor over center ice. Proctor gains the Lakers zone. Proctor on the far circle. Firing it out in front. Malashevsky with a shot that just went wide. The puck in along the near boards. As that fed ahead by Sarah Lamb. Now Jaremko racing around on the near circle. Jaremko with the shot. Loose in the slot. Proctor trying to get her glove on it, and she's able to dive forward and do so. 3:07 left to go. Here in the third, 5-0. Michigan with the lead over the Lake Superior State Lakers. Face off in the near face off, circled upon its right. That puck loose on the near circle, pulled away by Rubin, backing along the end line, gets it to Colwich in the far corner of her own zone. Colwich feeds it ahead. Michigan over their own blue line as Matthews chases it ahead. Now Simmer outside the near circle, battling with Adams. Adams trying to poke that away. Adams has it underneath the far circle. 2:45 left to go. Bringing it ahead is Devora into the Michigan zone. Devora with a shot that deflects up into the netting. And we'll have a face-off in the Michigan end with 2 minutes, 39 seconds left to go. These two teams will match up again tomorrow at 3:30. If you're in the neighborhood, come on down. We'd love to see you. If not, well, thank you for cheering these teams and watching them, as we'll have the broadcast for you. Colwich down the far boards, back into the neutral zone. Here comes Eliason racing ahead. Eliason top of the far circle. Puck wouldn't settle down for her. And pulled away by Adams. Now Eliason gets it back. Shot Miller with the save. Heather Lamb puts it in along the far boards. That gathered by Tonello. Tonello trying to get out of the zone now. Oakes sends it to the blue line. Michigan able to hold it in by Eliason. Over to Gargiulo on the far circle. Gargiulo trying to backhand it out in front. That guided back deep by Adams. Now Adams sweeps it back to the far point and back into the neutral zone. Katie German resets over to forehand down the near boards of the neutral zone. Forehand dumps it in and tipped off of Heather Lamb's skate. Coming over the far side, Adams trying to feed it ahead. Michigan gets it at their own blue line. Katie German pinned against the boards right in front of her own bench by a pair of Lakers, as Pott and Gibbs in there, levering, poking, working, trying to free that puck, continuing to dig and poke at it, and still it keeps on coming, and now it goes all the way on edge back into the Lakers zone. 1 minute, 25 seconds left to go here in the third. Michigan up 5-0. That puck in along the near board. Swanson has it in the neutral zone. Swanson trying to poke it away from Ackroyd and Pott. Lindahl trying to grab that as well. Michigan fine with a board battle as that takes up more time. Ackroyd backhands it ahead, but Swanson picks it up right at center ice. Moves that back over to Levinson. Levinson feeds it down the far boards in the neutral zone. Collected by Tricia Smith as we're under a minute left to go in the third. Backhanded ahead down the near boards by Levinson. Here comes Lindahl on the near circle. Lindahl goes back behind the goal. Now on to the far circle. Lindahl trying to avoid pressure by Heather Lamb. Lindahl into the far corner. 40 seconds left to go. McCarthy pokes that. Trying to pull that away, Heather Lamb. Now Tricia Smith in the far corner. Pull back over. Heather Lamb has it underneath the near circle. Under 30 seconds left to go. The puck into the neutral zone. Levinson trying to knock it right back in. The puck loose at center ice. Gathering it is Goldman. Goldman coming ahead with it. Goldman pokes it into the Lakers zone. 14 seconds left to go. Puck loose on the near circle. Proctor has that stolen away. Deflected back. 7 seconds left to go. as Proctor has the puck top of the far circle, backhanded the shot. 2 seconds, 1 second. Michigan back to their winning ways after defeat down at Indiana Tech. They come back with a resounding 5-0 win versus Lake Superior State. These two teams will meet again tomorrow at 3:30. Your third period action was at 19:11. It was a goal, Simmer from Katie German. Then Michigan goal at 13:26 as Proctor fired it just underneath the crossbar. Then at 12:05, it was Matthews from DeCreasy and Simmer. And then the final action at 10:03 was a Michigan penalty, cross-checking to Katie German. Michigan with the win, and the best tradition in all of sports, the post-game handshake, as they actually take that number 18 Robinson jersey through the handshake lineup. And what a heartbreaking story, but a beautiful tribute that the Lakers have with that jersey. We will be back tomorrow on the air, as we'll go on the air at 3:15 for the 3:30 game here from Yost. Enjoy the football game and all the rest of the action this evening. For my camera person, Christina Wiseman, my name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you and good night.